I've seen them coming in Friday, so. Is this a typo? I was wondering that myself. I mean,
he's getting a hell of an increase.
There's something wrong with the contract. That's correct.
I was thinking maybe this was Gerald.
Maybe. It just.
Okay, this is the Monday, February 4th, 2013, 7 p.m. work session of the River Edge Mayor and Council. The notice of this meeting was provided by sending notices to the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting, by positioning notice of the meeting on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall, and filing notice of the meeting with the municipal clerk. Remind members of the public that we have 3 exits in council chambers, 1 to the rear and 2 to the front. Can I have a roll call, please? Judy.
Here.
Councilman Acefreda.
Here.
Councilman Cole.
Here.
Councilman Ren.
Here.
Councilman Baldwin.
Here.
Councilman Capoletti.
Here.
And Mayor Monster.
Present. All right, Borough Administrator topics, Hackensack Avenue. We have our esteemed Borough Engineer, Mr. Costa, ready, willing, and able to advise us on this project.
Mayor, good evening. If I can pass these out, members of the council, good evening tonight. This will show the geometry, excuse me, of Hackensack Avenue. That this has been approved.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody miss one?
Those squad rolling that green standard instance. Never mind.
Probably didn't read it.
It's like,
Yeah. Well, we try to do this to make it as small. This is my staff in the office. They try to make it as small as possible so I can struggle as much as I can. There's a bump in front of you, in front of me. What this shows is the removal of the jug handle down by the storage facilities and the apartments. That would come out. That street would be vacated. A portion of it would go back to the state or to the county. Where the old Pizza Town property was, across where the apartments are, they would pick up half of that, and what we're showing there is then to put in parking in that area, to give back parking to the apartments. As you stay on Hackensack Avenue, there'd be a light that would be placed at Grand and Hackensack. There would be a light, obviously, at Main and Hackensack Avenue. You'd have turn lanes, 1 turn lane onto Main, and 2 turn lanes onto Grand Avenue. As you're coming the opposite direction, coming southbound out into Milford, you'll see there's an island in the center. That would give access into the businesses that currently don't have access or driveway making left-hand turns. As you come further down, the little island that's by the gas station now, that would be removed. And then the geometry of the corner would be put in where you would have an only left-hand lane with further stacking. What happens now if the train comes in, it actually says that you can't make the right-hand turn, and the cars now stack into Hackensack Avenue. So that situation would be eliminated by this geometry. Actually, land would go back to the gas station, so the gas station property would actually get larger, and that would then reduce the amount of taking that we have from it in that corner. As you go further down, when East Coast Storage came in front of the planning board many years ago, we took a widening from there, so that's not necessary to take any of that property. The borough piece, which is a little further south, where you'd like to put the commuter parking there, would have to give up a little bit of land, a little bit of right-of-way there, in order for the transition to go back into the existing right-of-way once you go further south and cross over the bridge by Coles Brook. That's it. We're working on it full-time right now. I have 2 people on it currently full-time. We just started going back and forth with the county with the electrical plans. I'm hoping to get a meeting towards the end of this week to try to put that all together. But I would say within a month, we would probably be pretty close to, not to bid specifications out to bid, but very close with the actual design where they would actually sign off on it. So at least a month, maybe 2 months away from actual having specifications come back before the council.
What exact parcels and areas of land do we have to acquire?
In the, you're going to have a small piece in the gas station, the property to the north, if you want to stay on that side,
Okay.
where the batting cages are.
Mm-hmm.
A portion of that was given up already. You're going to need some temporary easements, temporary construction easements, just to do some of the work in there. And then just a slight piece right in there. On the other side, again, Hackensack East Coast Storage was given years ago, and the borough would have to put up some, a small piece of the property that obviously the borough owns, so we don't have to buy it. And on the, excuse me, on the opposite side, where the apartments are, there's going to be some geometry changes in order for the light to align itself with the intersection. So their driveway, they would be able to come out of there and actually get to a light, where obviously now they can't do that. But much, much less. I don't think we got numbers back. I dropped everything off to the appraiser, I believe, middle of December, I think he got it. But I'm not sure if he's had the opportunity to actually put numbers to it.
Mayor? Yes.
If I could just clarify Mr. Costa's point on the appraiser. Mason Helmstead did write us back mid-December with a proposal to do the appraisal work for $6,000, but I've held this in my file until the mayor and council have had the opportunity to decide whether we're moving forward on this project or not at this time. So we do have a proposal. If they want to move forward, then we can make an award of this proposal as long as funds are available.
Why 2 turning lanes on Hackensack and Grand Avenue?
We actually did 13 plans for the county back and forth. This was the latest one, and the one that's actually has been approved by them. In order to take some of the congestion off of Main, they want to open up Grand Avenue. When they started running their numbers on the traffic volumes, they didn't feel they could push enough volume through Main. In order to do so, you'd have to have almost 2 lanes coming through, which then you would have to have merging lanes in order to make this work. And it was just not enough width in order to have the lanes come into Main. So the idea was there'd be more queuing from the rail on Grand than there was on Main Street, because it chokes down there.
Ed?
I guess we do a couple questions. I'm sure they looked over the scenarios, but did they look at scenarios where they would have made, say, Main Street one-way westbound and Grand one-way eastbound to sort of split the traffic that way?
We actually, like I said, we did at least 13 plans, and it was all of the engineering, planning, everybody from the county sitting there. I don't know if that ever came up in the conversation, making them one way, but I'm not sure if you really want to make it one way, because sometimes that could be a business killer.
Well, I got a bigger problem with their concept, is that until they fix the problem at Route 4 and Main, this is not going to do anything. All you're going to do, because that's the choke point. So no matter how many turning lanes you have, if you're coming through Grand or coming through Main, they're still going to be stopped dead trying to get on Route 4 in the PM peak. Just a few weeks ago, the council asked Alan to write a letter to FEMIA to set up a meeting with yourself, the county, and the state to see if they can look at that intersection again, to see if there's some way where they can do some strategic planning on what they can do there, because I'm not comfortable going forward with this until they fix what's going on down there. I think it's all tied together.
The only thing under the Hoffman-Coos scenario, Bogert, this was approved by the planning board back in '07. Bogert is actually moving away, and going at 90 degrees, so it's actually, where that comes in, I guess the four corners, I guess you call it the five corners, it's actually going to move apart. That's the proposal with that.
Mhm.
Now, whether that was the county, I'm not sure who came up with that, because at the time I wasn't the engineer for the planning board.
But I think that needs to be revisited
always
and
need to
see
be,
what's going on over there, because again, doing this is, if you can't get past Main Street, it's not gonna matter what you do here. You're gonna get same stacking, I don't see how it's gonna be any,
Well, the only difference is you're going to be able, it's going to open up Grand.
yes, and Grand's a narrow
Right now.
street. Grand's very narrow. And you have the train tracks there too, so it's not,
But it gives you a little more stacking.
And-
That's the only difference.
thinking ahead, if we decide, and if we ever put a parking deck on that corner, which Transit wants, you're gonna have another 1,000 cars trying to come out onto that tiny little street.
But you'd come out to a signalized intersection.
Well, it depends if but if they're heading towards
Route.
Route 4, they're gonna all wanna come on Grand and come out that way. They're not gonna wanna go and loop around on Hackensack Avenue to come out. So I think that scenario has to be looked at, because that's, at least as far as transit is concerned, that's their desire for that parcel. So we should be looking at the potential impact of that. And I said we need to look at what's happening at Grand and Main, Route 4 and Grand and
The
Bogart,
service- right, the service
the
road.
service road. I said before, I would think we should go forward with this, but that's my...
Is that called Marginal Road? Is that the name of it?
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, I've always called it a service road, and then...
The sign says service road
I
if you're
think
coming
it's
off
a
Route
service
4.
road, and then it gets
Service
into...
road? Yeah, that's-
It's definitely state jurisdiction. I mean,
Yes.
if you go out there, if you look at the curbs...
But the county puts their stops
Well-
there too, so the county police do take jurisdiction over part of it, so.
Right.
They
This
put
may
their
be-
stop sign where?
Where the bus stop is on the service road, the county always has enforcement actions, whether it's seatbelt or whatever, they're always
Yeah,
having stops.
that's a terrible spot, because when you come off the ramp and you get to the stop sign, well, the ramp up to the stop sign is one way, right? Coming off.
Correct.
Then when you get to the stop sign and you proceed, people don't know they're going into two-way traffic.
Correct.
Yes.
Because the cars from Bogart are making a left and coming around the curve.
But like Rob saying, the
Yes.
intersection's supposed to be realigned as part of Highway Cruise. I don't know whether that's sufficient to fix the problem, but I just think everything needs to be looked at in
I know the
comprehensive.
plan calls for a little pedestrian island as you're crossing Main Street, right?
Correct. Yes.
According to Google Maps, that's Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue, according to Google Maps, I could be wrong, Grand Avenue turns right, parallels Route 4, past Main, past Bogart, ends at Lake. At Lake, it's an access road onto Route 4. Ed and I've had a couple conversations, I know I've had it with the mayor and Kathleen and a couple other people. I also am very concerned about Main and what I'm going to now call Grand. I'm not gonna call it Marginal or the Circus. I'm gonna call it Grand, because we need for our business to be successful. And twice a day, that entire section between Grand and Kinnickinnick on Main Street becomes basically one long parking lot. I have a couple of ideas that I'd just like to throw out as food for thought. I'm not an expert, but living here and seeing, I believe that maybe making Grand a one-way going west, right?
Going towards the highways?
Going towards the highway. Making Grand one-way going west and Main Street going one-way going east might be a good idea. Having Route 4 access being done at, this is Hackensack and Grand, making that the main access instead of Main and Hackensack. And/or, just to throw this out, I'm wondering if Main Avenue and River Edge should not have access to Grand, Grand being the access road that we're talking about right now, that it ends there. You could still go from the highway onto Grand, onto Main, so our businesses would still get immediate traffic.
Right.
But then when they wanted to go back to the highway, they'd have to then continue going down Main, make a right onto Kinnickinnick and a right onto Grand, and so kind of create basically a flow. These are ideas that I don't know if they have merit or not, but I'd like for you to consider with the county and maybe bring back a suggestion of whether these are good ideas, because right now, when I bank at PNC Bank in the afternoon, I just look and I see the Hoffman Coos property is pretty much locked away due to traffic.
No question. It's, getting on Route 4, whatever problem is on Route 4, obviously every night it's the same thing. On the weekends, on Saturday, it's the same thing. It creates parking and backup to Kinderkamak, and even, further over Kinderkamak towards the train station. Here's a couple of scenarios and a couple of problems. These lights are what's called preempted by the railroad. So the railroad actually controls these lights when they come through. Now we have a railroad that's used to run obviously 5 times a week and runs 7 times a week. Whether or not they're going to increase service on that or not, who knows what the future will bring. If you listen to transit, service is going to become more active. So that scenario is going to happen more and more. Probably when you're going through there, all of a sudden you think you're in Studio 54, the strobe lights go on, and then you say to yourself, well, what's going to happen? Why is this happening? And what it does, the north and southbound directions stay green. There's a time delay in order for them to clear the tracks to get the cars off the tracks. So you have that going first, and you can't get around that. Once you move to the next scenario where you're speaking about, Councilman, that is completely controlled by the state. When you come off of Route 4 onto Grand, that's the exit ramp. So we'd have to close that ramp and move that traffic 1 block down to Main. So that would become the new entrance ramp off of the highway. If you do that, I have a feeling you're going to bring transit in, because right now you would come off the highway and then you come on Grand and then straight into the train station. So they would probably get involved. I think you probably need everybody there to put in their input and then figure out what's the least amount of disruption, and maybe you do it on a temporary basis to see whether or not it works.
Just so the record is clear, I want to make sure, with the suggestion of making Rand a one-way west and Maine maybe a one-way east, but I would not want to, I'm not suggesting, nor would I support leaving, not having access to Main Street from Kinderkamak going south. So what I'm suggesting, just so it's clear on the record, that if you're traveling south on Kinderkamak, you should be able to turn right onto Main,
Make a right. Okay.
go to what would be Total Wine right now, and whatever properties get built up there.
Right.
But what I'm suggesting is that you cannot then continue onto what we are now understanding to be Grand, which would be access to the highway.
Okay, so you can't get on that.
No. So to prevent that, so to prevent all of so that all traffic funneling to Route 4 has to go on Grand. That's what I'm suggesting. Or if that's not possible, what I'm suggesting is that we make it clear through signage on Hackensack going north that access to Route 4 is from Grand, and then reduce so that Main is only being used by people going, or people are being led to use only Main if you're traveling south on Kinderkamak. But if you're traveling north on Kinderkamak, which is at Johnson at that point, I believe,
Right.
or if you're traveling north on Hackensack, you're being funneled towards Grand, and then reduce the amount of volume that's traveling on Main Street so that our businesses, and maybe that sharing might be an idea.
Well, I think that's what this tries to accomplish. Remember, this is if you're going to Route 4, I guess the question becomes, how do you get to Route 4? Would you go Grand, come off of Hackensack Avenue? If you go past Bloomingdale's and you don't take that jump handle to get on Route 4, you come further in, now you would make the left at Grand, go straight up Grand, and get on Route 4. Then the question becomes, okay, if you go to Main would be, if you're going north on Kinderkamak Road, you'd make the left at Main, head over the tracks, make a right, and go north. And I think that's probably what you're saying. And I think ultimately, with all the schemes that we started looking at, that's where we came back to with this. I mean, the idea of this whole, a couple of things that drive me. One was get rid of the jug handle in order to get the property back to the park. And then the park can start their master planning and get the park to where they want it, eliminate that bring the Welcome Center in and that whole scenario that they're trying to develop. If you don't put a light at Grand, then you force everybody on Main, which I agree with you. Main just can't handle the amount of volume that's there even today. It's substantial. So then the thought process was spend the extra money, widen the road at Grand, and put a light there so you're able to make that maneuver, because Grand, there's nobody on it at night for the most part. You can shoot right there. However, once you do that, you get on the service road, and then you come back to the intersection, Councilman, that you're talking about. Now everybody's at that 5 corner, and it's a free-for-all because, you know, there's so many different maneuvers going on. Now, whether or not this improvement that the mall is going to actually do solves all of that, I think is probably waits to be seen. And then if and when the mall ever gets off the ground and moving. So, at this point, I'll certainly go back. I'll set up meetings with the county, with the state. That's the desire of the council. I'll work on it tomorrow morning and get meetings with everybody to look at that intersection.
I don't know if it's for the council, but it certainly is mine, so I guess I have to make a motion for that, Alan, or Mayor?
I have a question. Who owns the jug handle?
I believe the jug handle is owned by the county. There was question as who owned what. It isn't River Edge. I believe the actual jug handle itself is actually the county. Then Main is River Edge, and then a portion of Main closer to the river was actually vacated, right where the property line was with public service. So if you go into the park area, at that property line where the public service ends, that part of Main up to the old bridge is actually vacated. Part of it went to, going towards it, the left-hand side went to the state of New Jersey, the right-hand side went to the Bergen County Historic Society. And it was vacated, redone, and then ultimately redone again correctly. And I have all the paperwork. I believe I sent it to Denise and Alan recently.
But the jug handle, you think belongs to the county?
I do.
But isn't that part of Main Street, the county also?
No.
No. Main Street is actually local. That portion of Main is local. The other portion of Main is county.
I thought that wasn't our understanding. I thought that was the county. Remember we were talking about the trees?
Yeah, Kevin Wright was disputing what we were saying in terms of vacating the street, so I think it needs to be researched again.
Again, when this came up a few weeks ago, I pulled everything out. Maybe I sent it to Sam at that point. It might have been in December. But it was actually vacated. Main, once you cross over Hackensack Avenue and head towards the river, it's local. Years ago, it was county, because that's actually how, before they built the bridge that comes around, the newer bridge, the traffic was diverted through there. So it actually came through there, and obviously it's Old New Bridge Road in there. That becomes local once it crosses over there by the BP station. It becomes county from there up to Route 4. So the county controls Grand and Main. On that side, on the east side of Hackensack Avenue, the town controls the easterly side, and then the portion from public service to the river was actually vacated. So when you go in there and you see the gravel that was put down, that's actually the state of New Jersey. So if you come over the bridge on a bicycle and you fall off the bike, that you'll actually be on the state of New Jersey land, not the town.
Thanks for the tip.
Good. And I'll send everybody on the council tomorrow. I'll make copies of all the deeds and the vacations. Certainly I'll send it to Tom.
I had a question as well. When do they do a traffic study? There been one done?
Yes.
Do they include the new apartments that are in Hackensack?
No, this is actually before that project.
Would that have any impact on this whole thing with the 220 apartments?
How many?
220.
Yeah.
Probably not one of the base volume on that street's got to be
Yeah,
tens
I
of
would-
thousands of cars,
yeah,
so
it's-
I would think it's probably...
it's probably so de minimis as far as the traffic that's
That's a
on
good
there.
word, let me write that down.
Okay.
2 minutes.
As far as the traffic that's on there now, it's probably not going to add that much between the, you know, the mall, all of the north-south traffic that comes on there. This is a heavily traveled roadway. It's probably 0.1% of what's on there daily. The key is to get everybody on the train, anybody that's commuting, and get them off the roads.
Or a bicycle.
That'd make a great Starbucks, right over there on the borough's property.
Yep.
So do we need a motion for Bob to do what he suggested he was going to start doing, having these conversations? Or can we just say to him that we're interested in this?
Well, I think Mr. Costa was here for us to give our blessing to this, not to have them, you know,
Go back.
redo Main and Route 4, which involves the DOT.
But we've already asked the county to look into that.
Yeah.
We just haven't had the meeting followed up on that.
No, I know.
Well, I can certainly call the county tomorrow, and we'll get a meeting together. I'll call Debbie Hurd from DOT and say this is, many years ago with the former chief, there was a big meeting on the same intersection, and that intersection is completely controlled by the state. I don't think the county is going to have the jurisdiction. I mean, it didn't back then. We had all state representatives on that,
Well, they do because that part of Main Street is county.
but it's an exit ramp off of
Yes,
Route 4.
but they would still have
Well, no, certainly
a seat at the table to make any comments
as
as to what
Right.
happens with it, so.
You know, this is a worthwhile project, but it's like Councilman Mignon was saying, it all bottlenecks up to the one point. So I think it is worthwhile to have our engineer reach out to the state, any council members or mayor, you're friendly with our state senator and assembly people. Certainly, perhaps a call out to them might be warranted to assist us in dealing with the DOT, and trying to get that, you know, looked at so that we don't have that backing up. And then what you will have is an infrastructure in place that can hopefully service redevelopment if and when it comes. So.
I might know a state senator, maybe.
May not be in this
You know,
district.
the DOT
Yeah, you might know somebody you can make a call
to DOT. Somebody will be here.
If we...
No problem.
If we prohibited left turns at the end of Bogart, right, you can only turn right. If we prohibited left turns on Lake, you can only turn right. And then that, whatever you call it, the ramp or Grand Avenue, that's 2 lanes, right now?
Correct.
So if both lanes, if the Grand Avenue traffic and the Main Street traffic, it was all one way leading onto Route 4, that would significantly reduce the bottleneck, right?
I think all you need to do is take, where right now you can make the left on Bogart
Yeah.
and spin around. If you just continue the one-way ramp all the way onto Route 4, you'd eliminate that whole situation there because you wouldn't have people coming in the opposite direction.
I mean, no left turns, right?
That's not what's causing the bottleneck. It's a capacity issue. It's also a capacity issue with the on-ramp or with the merge
Well, you have a
from the
merge.
service road onto, that's the
There's
other
a few
problem.
things.
So
You
it's
have-
not just...
You have the merge that comes in, so you need to widen it where
Yes.
the bridge is. That's the first thing.
Mhm.
You have no sidewalk there also. So if you wanted pedestrian safety to even get there, because I believe you have a bus stop, because I've seen people try to negotiate this. But if you just take the ramp and make it a one-way and don't allow it to come back, that would eliminate the main that, once you get there, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah, everybody's looking to
You're
see
playing
what the
cricket
guy's
with the
doing.
other guy.
You know, who's coming around, and then as they're coming around on Main,
Which is why I think we should stop that too.
most people they don't stop. It's almost a yield, and it's a quick yield, because they don't stop, they don't look. If you're coming Main onto Route 4 and it's open, they're coming around the corner.
Mhm.
But like I said, I think if you just eliminate the two-way and make it a one-way, that solves that problem. What it might do is push traffic on the local streets
Well, yeah.
to come through.
But
So
if it
Reservoir
does-
might pick up some, that might be Oswego might pick up a little traffic in order to cut back around to get back on the
But
highway.
it also may funnel at the Howland where we have a traffic signal now, which may make it
Right.
easier too, so, but that would be something
But I
that
think
they'd
that's
have to look at.
what you would, that would solve a lot of the problem. And then obviously the capacity issue on Route 4, that's a whole other scenario. But at least for the minimum, make it one way and stop the people coming back the opposite direction. And then if you want to go, if that doesn't seem to solve the problem, then come up with the other scenarios that you suggested. We'd start at baby steps. Baby steps are a lot easier to get accomplished, too.
But at least in this drawing, I would like signage that made it clear that we want people to go to Route 4 via Grand.
You have to, otherwise, you know, I was in the city on Saturday night. You have too many signs, it's not a good thing either, because I counted on one pole, I think there were 20 signs on the pole.
So no one's looking at them.
And it's tough to read. You have to take Evelyn Wood's Reading Dynamics in order to try to get them when you drive. But I will reach out, I will set up a meeting. The only thing I ask, there probably should be at least one council representative or two at the meeting with the mayor.
I'll attend.
I'd like to attend.
Ed can attend.
And the other thing I asked you about, would you be able to give us this plan, but also just extend it to show Grand, Route
Yeah.
4 and...
What I'll do, you know what, when Alan said that this was on tonight, I apologize. I didn't realize I was going to be talking about this, so I just said, just give me a quick copy to run out. What I will do tomorrow, I'll send PDFs of this to everybody. Try to, this way we can zoom in, zoom out, and then I'll add the rest of it so you get an idea where everything is.
Okay.
Very good, thanks.
You're also on the agenda for Grove Street.
Mayor, at the, last week, you asked me to come up with some numbers. What I want to do first is pass some sketches out.
Yeah, I missed it. Oh, those are the signs.
What I did last week when we left, we pulled out the Kinderkamak Road project that we did years ago. Based on that, there was a partial aerial topo that was actually flown for that project. We took that information, set a base map up, showed all the tax map lots that are around the Grove Street area, showed the buildings that came off of the Kinderkamak Road project, and then tried to give you how far it was from the actual train station. They came up with a very quick budget idea to go from gravel to macadam to environmental pavers, and then with a list of budgetary items, throw out what you want, keep in what you want, and go from there. I also, there's an alternate parking layout on the right-hand side that would just show a one-way or a two-way rather in and out from Lincoln and cut off road that you wouldn't be using Grove Street with vehicular traffic.
Okay.
44 parking spaces on that and 47 parking spaces on the other scenario. This would include you would have to widen where the current wall is, take that down, widen it out, build higher retaining walls in there, put the steps to get access back up to Kinderkamak Road. If you want to do lighting, curbing, walls, drainage, landscaping, I just gave you some budgetary numbers.
All right. Any questions? Al?
Alan, what is a parking fee for a year for a space?
220, Judy, is it?
200 a year.
200.
You might have to raise that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my quick math at 250 a spot would take you 26 years to recover your investment.
For the gravel parking area?
Well, for this, no, that's, for everything is 316, but it would take you about 12 years or so.
But not for the gravel, that's with the...
Yeah, but let's say just gravel, it would take you about 12 years to recoup your initial investment.
All right.
But Rob, if you didn't put parking where you need to do the walls and just did that other piece,
Right, then you would
would
take
you knock
that
the
out.
cost down by probably at least half?
Well, we put $50,000 in for the wall, or $60,000.
60 for the wall, 50 for the lighting, so it's 100,000, right?
Right. And again, budget numbers, whether that's, it could be less.
And I personally, I would have an issue with connecting to Grove Street. I think we're going to have a lot of problems with adding that traffic coming up and down Grove Street. So if we did anything, I'd be looking at that alternate coming in and out of Lincoln, but then depending on people coming out of Lincoln trying to make a left out of there, because Lincoln gets backed up too.
You wouldn't be able to make
So
it.
it's hard to come out.
You'd have to make a right.
Yeah, but then you're coming back to the crazy River Edge Road thing and
Yeah.
coming up that way. So it'd be safer to come out, make a left and go to the traffic signal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, make a left up the hill.
Yeah.
As opposed to the right.
All right.
It basically takes the property, puts the dimensions on it, puts in real spaces. We didn't have the topo for the entire lot, because that Kinnecummack Road project stopped about halfway. We just tried to guesstimate the other elevation, so the contour 40, contour 50 is a guess. But up around Kinnecummack, where the current wall is now, those grades are pretty accurate.
Did you show a staircase?
Yes.
In this plan?
Yes.
Yeah, it's,
So,
I mean, if anything, if the council is seriously considering this option, I think instead of, commuter parking, what you might want would be metered hourly parking, so it services the businesses. And you might be able to generate revenue significantly quicker, but I don't know that either one's a
I can't
great idea.
imagine people parking there to walk up the stairs to go get pizza.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
I agree, but it's, I don't know.
Well, there's a nail salon, and there are other businesses who would stay longer, not just pizza.
Well, I mean,
There's a sushi place.
I think what we had been talking about previously, and that's why we hired the appraiser to look at this lot, is that really, I think what you would want would be some type of parking structure so that it's on grade, so you don't have to go up steps, and that you could access it from Kinnecummack Road as well, as opposed to the side streets, which I'm sure people either on Lincoln or on Grove would not be appreciative of the increased traffic.
I don't think they'd like a parking structure.
Well,
I just think we should do something.
but there wouldn't be local traffic, there wouldn't be traffic on their streets.
That wall would have to be fixed in some fashion.
The wall the wall that's there now would have to come out because it's too narrow, or you would have to eliminate the parking. So if you want to take advantage, which is basically the entire piece, you'd have to rebuild the retaining wall.
Even if you didn't take advantage of the whole thing, that wall, something has to be done.
Yes, the wall is in.
I mean, it's troubling.
The wall's in bad shape, and if you had a nice, if you had a nice staircase from there up to Kinnecummack Road, it would be really a boon to those businesses there.
People park back there as it is. They use the parking back there.
There's no parking. There's very limited parking on Kinnecummack Road. any of the newer projects that have come into the board, we've asked them to put parking behind, have the stores move on up to the street level, and then put parking behind them. And obviously, people use those parking lots. But again, this area, there's nothing there. Rule of thumb is roughly $3,000, probably to $5,000 a space. Once you get into structured parking, you're probably closer to $15,000 to $20,000. Many years ago in Fort Lee, we were the engineers, I think we still are actually, for the parking authority. And we were doing satellite parking areas throughout Fort Lee. For this reason, to try to give the businesses some help with parking. But again, they were metered.
And they're all at grade also, so.
They're all at grade.
When you're talking about 20, I mean, it may not seem like a lot, but for seniors, something like that, there's a lot of steps going from down there up to the
Well,
top.
these people have to exercise. It's time that they get out there.
And then there's a maintenance issue, because now you have DPW's gonna have to make sure those are maintained, and
Yes.
sanded, or salted, and
No question.
shoveled.
This creates maintenance.
And there's not enough business up there, I think, to support 40-something spaces, unless you're gonna have some for,
Well, the other scenario, if you look at the area you're dealing with, is, does this become a redevelopment zone up there? And maybe that's a long-term plan.
Right.
And then, where do you cut the line? Do you cut the line right where the property line is now, and then all of those properties enter into a redevelopment zone? And then use the grade to your advantage, park underneath, build something on top, and go to that scenario.
Yes.
Bob, wouldn't we need to make this parking ADA accessible as well? Or is there a way that,
Well,
because I
technically,
just don't see it?
I didn't show handicap parking spaces on these.
Yeah, but we at least 5%, right?
no,
You're gonna have
2%,
to, yes, you're probably gonna have to put ADA parking in there. If you do that, the switchbacks might become ramps, so you might have some additional cost for that.
Where's the drop-in grade?
But what I was going to suggest is that the couple of spaces on top, if you incorporate the top, because that's borough land also, into this, then the handicap would become up top, and I think you could treat it that in
We
that
could do
scenario.
that.
You would only need 2 spaces, it's less than 50.
But I think you could put them,
So-
if this is one project, I think those spaces could be placed up top.
Right.
And then you wouldn't have to build the ramp structure to get to here. But I'd have to
Yeah, my
have-
concern is not with the number of spaces, but with how you get to them and how you get out of them. For once you park your vehicle, now you have to govern a slope, and even if there is only one space, as you
Yes,
know.
but you would probably put it near the drive aisle, but then you need, yeah.
No, I'm saying up top.
Yeah, you could do it up top too.
No, just do it, right
No,
now.
he's saying just do it on top, and that's how
Yes.
we will
If-
fulfill
if-
the
if-
obligation.
the obligation.
Right. Right now,
And then
the
decrease
parking that the
frequency
town
that
owns
space
up
is used
top
on.
has handicap parking.
If we empty 95% of
The
it.
40 spaces, I believe we would trigger 2, so we might have to put another one up top. And I think that would suffice, that this is all one project, and that's how you would accomplish it. And then you wouldn't need a ramp structure. But again, I have the borough attorney thoroughly research that and tell me if I'm right or wrong.
All right.
Could probably be more revenue generated by this monthly parking rather than meter parking. Do you think that would be correct?
I don't know about generating revenue, but it would certainly be helpful to the economy up there in that part of town.
Yeah, because I
Because
think
employees could park there, shoppers could park there, we wouldn't have those vacant stores, you could have nice signage, shopper parking
Municipal parking.
in the rear.
Yeah, I mean, Leonia, I'm the planning and zoning board engineer down there. What they've done, they basically eliminated any of the Broad Avenue businesses have no parking. They have municipal parking behind all the stores. And what they require, they come into the planning board that they purchase a sticker. So if you're in need of a variance, even though it's technically not zoning by fees through this parking arrangement. The businesses have to purchase parking stickers in order to park there. And what it did, they recreated the lot. It's very active, and yet the buildings are almost property line to property line, and it's created a lot of new businesses there. And it seems to be working. Now, granted, it's not great.
And also they have street parking on Broad. They have angled spaces on
They
one
have
side,
angled
and they have
spaces
parallel
on-
parking
No, they do.
on the other
There's no
side, so
question.
it's...
But the
And
lot-
Broad is much wider than this part of Kindercommand,
It is.
so...
Wouldn't that be more akin to maybe Bergenfield? Because they also have the same,
Right.
yeah.
Teaneck also
Teaneck,
has
yeah.
tons of parking
They have
behind
room
it.
to put,
They only have...
Yeah, we don't.
municipal
yeah.
parking,
They don't have
just like
angles.
Hackensack, I mean.
I just think we should do something, because...
And you should talk to Fort Lee about the underutilization of those interior spots, because people don't know they're there, or people don't want to walk, or there's...
I mean, the one behind Fort Lee Hardware, that was very active. I don't know if that's
Yes.
still is, because it's very convenient. Some of the other ones that we
Like at the
did-
big lot, there's always an empty space, and it's a
Yeah.
commuter lot,
Big
and
lot
people don't,
is-
they're always forever trying to get people to park there to utilize the Main Street business, and then people don't want to walk, but rule of thumb, 200 feet, 300 feet, that's...
I've said this 1,000 times. If you go to the Garden State Plaza, you will nearly lose your life. You're fighting for a space close to the door, only for some of these people to walk about 4 or 5 miles once they're inside, so...
Yeah, irony, huh?
Yeah.
All right,
All right?
yep, thanks for
I mean,
this.
I think this is what you thought to do, I hope.
No, you gave us, actually 4 different scenarios. You gave us the one with the two-way parking on the little access to Lincoln Avenue. You gave us one-way in from Lincoln Avenue, and you gave us the, how many bells and whistles we can put on the parking area. So that's exactly what we asked you to do.
I will set up a meeting tomorrow morning. Stay there, and I will copy everybody on the mayor tax survey. Thank you very much.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you, Bob.
I appreciate it.
All right, next on the agenda, we have the open space allocation.
Mayor, thank you. If I may, we issued a memorandum to the mayor and council describing the requests that were made through the hearing process, as well as the suggested allocation from the meeting of January 28, 2013. And the discussion can continue on finalizing that list. Upon acceptance by the mayor and council, we would prepare resolutions to memorialize those allocations.
All right, does anybody have any further discussion on the list? Kathleen?
Would like to include the tree cutting by the tennis court. I took a walk over there today, and the tennis court is pretty messed up from the trees. So I think that should go back into the allocation.
All right, so right now we have, under tennis courts, we have $2,000. I guess that... I
That has to
think
be cleaned up.
That's the cleaning.
But I think those trees, I spoke to Liz, and everyone is on board with having the trees removed. So that being the case, we should go forward and have them removed.
Where was that on the list, Jess?
It's $11,460 under the requested Shade Tree Commission, trees, tennis court. But I would ask for clarification, if we're including that, are we reducing the lighting request?
That would be the case.
Okay.
But, Alan, didn't you say that we had an alternate quote from Mr. Lynch for $6,000? Maybe that was my conversation with him.
For what?
Mr. Lynch gave me an oral quotation to have the trees removed at about $6,000, $6,500, something like that, in that range.
Liz's price includes plantings as well, which makes up that $11,000. Replacement bushes?
He had holly bushes,
Yeah.
other types of trees and bushes. It's just going to be a continual problem every year.
I have a moral problem putting the removal of trees under open space, okay? Because open space is for the acquisition and for natural resource conservation. It doesn't include cutting down trees, right? So it shouldn't be an open space. I don't care where you put it, but cutting down trees is not open space.
The tennis courts cost a lot of
That's
money
my opinion.
to build. You know, that is an investment, and it's getting ruined. And a person like Liz, who is, you know, #1 tree champion, is willing to go along with
So
it.
Mayor,
Not
are you
open
saying that we
space.
need to put that in capital, or we need to put that somewhere else in operation?
Not-
It's not a capital.
Yeah.
I don't know
Not a capital,
where, I
right?
don't know where
That's
to put
in
it.
operation.
But the open space trust fund is for the acquisition of open space. It's for the conservation, and it's for natural resources and recreation, not for cutting down trees.
Tennis courts are recreation.
I would have no problems putting it in operation or looking at it somewhere else. I don't know about you guys.
I think Rec should decide if how they want to allocate that as part of their overall budget. I mean, this should have been anticipated when they did the courts the first time.
I mean, they've made the request numerous times, you know, this is the last memo saying it's costing $2,000.
I'm saying, but before they redid the courts, this should have been addressed at that point.
You know, that was a conversation
And
they did have.
that's hindsight, yes, I understand it, but then I have a problem with us spending
There's
more
no,
money.
like,
Let Rec
long-term
then-
planning.
They may have to put off something else and use that money, if they think that's a priority for them to do, they should allocate some of their funding towards that. That's how I would feel about it.
I'm going to make a motion to put some open space money toward the removal and replanting of the trees by the tennis court.
All right, you made the motion.
Do you, just clarification, point of clarification, how much?
$11,460.
I mean, right now, Rec, the allocation so far for park maintenance, $21,270 goes to Rec. The allocation for field maintenance, $20,670 goes to Rec. The allocation for lights, presently at $28,468, goes to Rec.
Mayor, that's the lightning system.
Yeah, that's lightning detection.
Oh, all right. That's the lightning detection
Yes.
system. Okay. The fence at the ball field, $55.60, that goes to Rec. So, and if you add these up, 20, 40, 68, 70, what is that, $75,000?
$75,968.
And then there's the allocation for the lights at the bottom, right? 40,000. That's, what is that?
116,000.
116,000 of the $143,000, all going to one department.
I think we made a big investment in tennis courts, and they're anticipating paying $2,000 every year to clean up the sap. So whether it's hindsight or not, you know, if we take care of it now, then you can just, the $2,000 can come off because of the tree damage.
Do we have a commitment from DPW to do the seating?
Yes, we do.
All right. So then that would remove how much from Rec's request for the seating of all the various fields?
They requested $4,400 for Memorial Park and Brookside Park, and then they had a vendor last year spend $6,550 for the 3 fields. They're saying that the seeds cost $1,200.
It's about $10,000 for all of it, but we would have to allocate some of that $10,000 to the DPW.
Well-
Not the whole $10,000, but some of it.
No, I don't, DPW included in their original 9,200 the seating.
Yeah, but we have them down to $8,000 now.
Sure, you'd have to put them back to 9,200.
Yeah, the $8,000 was your recommendation, and then when they agreed to do the seeding, it was determined to be $1,200, which brought it back up to that price.
Yeah, but when you say it was determined, that's a number that you got from Bobby
That's
Conway.
correct, yes.
That's not a number you got from John Lynch.
But John, in his request for 9,200 was including seeding those fields. That number included that. That was part of his number. So if you give him the 9,200, he should be able to do that work, because that's included in that $9,200. You don't have to give him any more than that.
That was the seeding for the 3 fields, and then there was 2 other, I believe, Memorial Park and Brookside Park, that record requested $4,400 to take care of that one.
I mean, if you want to give him another 500, but it's the labor costs that, increase the
Right.
going out to a private bidder, which you don't have with using DPW.
Alan?
We already bid.
No, yeah, it was $2,000 for grass seed, right? We took a percentage of that for just the park clearing.
Okay. So there was a motion, I didn't hear a second on just Kathleen's motion.
Well, I think we need to clarify the
And there was
motion.
further discussion by Alphonse to maybe adjust the DPW line in open space so that we can make further adjustments in park maintenance and field maintenance, and maybe find money for this tree destruction. It just doesn't go in open space. It just doesn't go in open space.
Something's got to be done. I think it has to be addressed.
No, it has to be addressed. It's just not open space money. It's not, it wasn't, it's not the will of the, it doesn't serve the public trust to...
People that like to play tennis on a
use open space
non-sticky
money
court.
to cut down trees.
Well, Mayor, the open space money originally should have been used to take down those trees when the courts were being built. At that time, my understanding was Shade Tree was reluctant to do it, and Recreation did not give them a hard time about it. So open space money would have been used at the time of the rehabilitation of the tennis courts for that work. So to use it now, I don't know that it's all that dissimilar.
If you want to allocate the money for the replanting and take this $6,500 for the cutting down and fund it another way, I mean, that would be a more...
To rec fund the tree taking down.
Maybe through one of the trust accounts. There might be.
Is it possible that rec can fund the tree taking down some other way, and we'll pay for the replanting under open space?
Yeah, that's a very good compromise idea.
The monies may be available in one of their trust accounts.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That'd be my motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Could you state your motion again, Ed?
The motion is that rec will find the funding to effectuate the removal of the trees. And then through the open space, we will pay for the replanting and reestablishing that area.
Okay,
Second.
there's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. All right, let's make the necessary adjustment to that.
So then,
Go ahead.
just for the numbers, so the money that we would not be paying some outside vendor to do the seeding, that money will be used for replanting? Is that what?
I don't think
That's basically works out. What's that?
The only decision that's been made is for the rec to use funds to take the trees down and to replant using open space. I'm looking now
Do you have your
for the replanting.
do you have the memo from Bobby showing what the seeding was going to be for
Yes, ma'am.
park?
She has 2 locations. Aerate and seed, 4,150 and 6,550.
4,150 and 6,550.
550.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time.
So what is that? 10,700. And we wanted to put some money back into DPW, correct?
Yes.
And how much was that?
The grass seed was $1,200, so that would make that
Did we want to
$9,200.
put it 1,200 back into DPW or 2,000?
No, I would put them, because I don't think they put grass seed for all the fields, so I would make a motion to put them to 9,500.
9,500. There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so 9,500 is the new DPW allocation. Park maintenance will be, park maintenance and field maintenance will be reduced by 10,700. Then we have to add back in,
$4,550 for the planting. That's what I'm taking off of the shade tree
planting.
replant area.
Okay. So we can make that adjustment. Fence will stay the same, shade tree will stay the same, 9/11, beautification, green team, environmental, historic. Is there any thought about the $2,000 for the cleaning of the tennis courts?
Well, that's got to be done. It has to be cleaned.
I'm just asking.
So we need a motion for that, is what you're saying, Mayor?
No. If it's going to stay in there, we don't need to do anything because it's in there now.
That's by an outside contractor, right?
Yes.
I'd only assumed because we're taking down these trees that maybe we could eliminate that $2,000. But
They're
if-
going to a better place.
Okay. And then we'll see where the number comes out to for our next meeting. All right, let me quickly, is there any other?
Motion to memorialize this?
Yeah, Alan's going to do a new memo, right? Alan's going to adjust his memo.
If he can do it now, can we
And then
vote on it now?
We'll have it for the Saturday budget meeting.
Can do it for that.
Yeah.
Resolution on for next week.
We had approval of the Van Saun Drive and a resolution for Alan Spinello. Can I have a motion on those two work session consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. Let's quickly open the work session to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The work session is open to the public. We're going to hear from the public. If anybody wants to speak, then we're going to close. We're going to go into our regular 8 o'clock meeting when we will open to the public again. All right, can I have a motion to close the work session to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Can I have a motion to adjourn the work session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go. Does anybody want to take a break for a minute?
I would love to take a break for a minute. After the meeting since 5 o'clock.
1 minute.
Oh, get my violin out for you.
I'm taking a quick, just one pick.
Quick break. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. This is the 8 o'clock public meeting. To stand, give us your name and address. If you want to be on the video, you can approach the microphone. We have 3 exits in the council chambers, 1 to the rear and 2 to the front. That's it. We can begin with a roll call.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Here.
Councilman Cortez.
Here.
Councilman Paul.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
Councilman Bartoloni.
Here.
Councilman Papaleo.
Here.
And Mayor Monticello.
Present. All right, I'd like a motion to approve the closed session minutes for October 15th, October 22nd, November 19th, and December 3rd, and December 17th, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? We have 1 abstention.
And I abstain from November 19th.
And I'm abstaining from December 3rd.
All right. Got all that, Judy?
Sounds like Lent.
Okay, good. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the mayor council for the work session or regular meeting of January 22nd. It should be 2013, correct? It says 12. I'm going to change that to 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, and then to approve the minutes of the mayor and council for the work session meeting of January 28th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? No proclamation and awards. We have one abstention from Councilman
The
Mignon.
28th.
Appointments and personnel changes. To approve the appointment of Joseph Herman, 557 Standish Road, Teaneck, New Jersey, to the River Edge Volunteer Fire Department effective February 5th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Is Mr. Herman here? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the appointment of Tyler Aronoff, 175 Woodland Avenue, to the River Edge Volunteer Fire Department Junior Auxiliary Squad?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Can I have a motion to approve the salary change of Officer Lee in the Police Department from an annual contractual base of $75,590 to $85,239 due to a grade change to patrolman 3rd grade?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? All right, and then there is a salary change of Officer Lee from $92,000. This is the one where we asked Alan for clarification.
Mayor, if I may, the first change, which you just approved, is a contractual change in step. What doesn't show here is that the officer is still entitled to $6,105 in holiday pay, which is part of his base pay. So that $85,239 in reality is $92,395. The next change is a change to grant a 2% longevity increase on the new base pay plus the holiday pay. Holiday pay by contract is rolled into the base pay of the employee. What we've done here in this paragraph is detail the amount of holiday pay that is here. So between these two, the officer is receiving a $9,649 step increase and a $1,842 2% longevity increase for a total of $11,491.
All right. There's the motion to approve the salary change of Officer Lee from an annual salary of $92,123.69, which includes his holiday base pay, to $93,966.16 due to the 2% longevity.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Can I have a motion to approve a salary increase for Officer Renata Sanchez from a probationary 1 salary of $28,611 to second-year probationary annual salary of $36,414?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? And can I have a motion to approve a salary increase of Patrolman Anthony Roman from probationary 1-year salary of $28,611 to second-year probationary annual salary of $36,414?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, in addition to those salary changes, we have correspondence that is listed on the agenda. Any member of the public, if they wish to do so, can go across the hall to our borough clerk's office during normal business hours and request a copy of the correspondence to review. In addition to the correspondence, we have monthly reports that are on file now for the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the month of October 2012, from the Library Board for January, that should be 2013, for the Beautification Committee of January 2013, and for the Historic Commission of November 2012. We have an ordinance that is on for first reading this evening, which is Ordinance 1779. Judy, can you read the title to the ordinance?
Ordinance Ordinance 1779, an ordinance amending Chapter 384 trees of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Riverhead.
Okay. This ordinance adds a definition for the shade tree replacement fund. This ordinance also permits these funds to be deposited in a shade tree replacement fund account, and the fees for the replacement fund will be used for the purposes expressed in the ordinance, which is shade tree replacement. Can I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on a first reading?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Aquafetta?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
Councilman Cavalera?
Yes.
Okay. This motion will be published in the newspaper and then listed for a public meeting and final adoption. Next, we have ordinance number 1780, an ordinance appropriating $2,000 from the General Capital Fund balance. Alan, can you explain the purpose of this ordinance?
Yes, Mayor. The Mayor and Council at their last meeting approved in concept a change order for the Howland Avenue resurfacing project. As the Borough Engineer explained, this is to eliminate a bump out on Howland Avenue and widen the roadway at the western part of the roadway up to Bogart Road.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 1780 on a first reading?
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Aquafetta?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
Councilman Cavalera?
Yes.
Okay, this ordinance, as the last ordinance, will be listed on the agenda after publication in the newspaper, public notice, and at the time of the second reading and adoption, we'll hold a public hearing on the ordinance, and we'll let anybody speak for or against this ordinance before it is put to a final vote. Next, we have an ordinance that is on for second reading, which is ordinance 1777. Judy, can you read the title of that ordinance?
Ordinance 1777, an ordinance authorizing an emergency appropriation, NJSA 40:4-53.
All right. The only explanation I have is that this is a codification of our 2012 ordinances. Alan, could you give us a little bit more detail on that?
Yes, every year the Mayor and Council pass ordinances which changes the administrative code. Once each year we prepare those ordinances for publication into the administrative code. So this ordinance will fund those changes, and we will then be allowed to pay it back over 5 years.
All right, thank you for that explanation. I'd like a motion to open the hearing to the public on the final adoption of ordinance number 1777.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would any member of the public like to speak on ordinance 1777, authorizing an emergency appropriation? All right, can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion of the final adoption of
So
ordinance
moved.
1777? We
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? Roll call, please, Judy.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Aquafetta?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
Councilman Cavalera?
Yes.
Thank you. And finally, we have ordinance number 1778. Judy, can you read the title?
Ordinance 1778, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1741, chapter 400, vehicles and traffic, article 4, schedules, 400-31, schedule 5, bus stops of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Riverhead.
Okay. Can I have a motion to, well, before that, this ordinance changes the location of a bus stop at, I think it's Howland Avenue. It just corrects the location
Yes,
of
that
the
is
bus stop,
correct.
which was improperly classified as being a certain number of feet from an intersection, when in actuality it's a different number. We were off by 40 feet or something like that. The reason that we have to adopt the ordinance on this bus stop is that we're in the process now of replacing all of our bus stops, and we need the concurrence from the county freeholders because they run along Kinderkamak Road, which is a county roadway, and the county has asked us to correct the ordinance, which has the incorrect location, so that they can concur with their own resolution, and then we can send them to New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit can then begin to build the new bus shelters. Can I have a motion to
So moved.
open the hearing to the public?
So
We have a
moved.
motion. Is there a
Second.
second? Second from Ed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion on this ordinance, the hearing on this ordinance is open to the public. Would any member of the public like to be heard or to speak for or against ordinance number 1778? Can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And can I have a motion for the final adoption of ordinance 1778?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please, Judy?
Councilwoman
Yes.
Percy. Councilman Aquafetta.
Yes.
Councilman Capola.
Yes.
Councilman Mignone.
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni.
Yes.
Councilman Papaleo.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We have resolutions by consent, which are numbered in the agenda as 13-80 up to and including 13-94. Would any member of the council wish to pull out for separate discussion or consideration any resolution on the consent agenda? Kathleen?
Just one clarification on 13-87.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Alan?
This is an accounting or an auditing standard which has been brought to our attention both this year and last year by the auditing firm of Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins. And they require that the borough designate basically a vehicle of communication with the auditors. So this resolution would designate the chief financial officer as the representative of the borough and the finance committee as the designated contact for the governing body. So that if the auditor needs to review various financial issues, those would be the two parties that would be representing the borough.
Okay, Kathleen?
Thank you.
Any further questions on the agenda, on the resolution list? Can I have a motion to approve these resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? And as is our custom, if our finance chair can separately read and move 13-94, the payment of bills.
Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee, now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $6,729,552.60. Capital account, $20,235. Recreation account, $118.54. Trust other account, $1,870.75. Trust other developers account, $1,155. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. All right, I'd like a motion to open the hearing to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The hearing, the meeting is open to the public. Would any member like to be heard?
Hi, Coleman Musty, 597 Bogut Road, also on the River Edge School Board. Can you describe the what's going to take place on Howland and Beaufort a little bit more, other than just a bump out, maybe? Because I'd be concerned as to what the traffic flow would be for the Cherry Hill School.
Alan?
Mayor, if I may, the work will be very similar to the work that's taken place already on Howland Avenue to the Paramus border, the replacement of curbs, sidewalks, driveway aprons, resurfacing of the roadway. We've had a pre-construction meeting. Lieutenant Curran has been the police department's representative at that meeting, and he has the task and will be reaching out to Cherry Hill School and inform the Board of Education and their officials as to what will be taking place and when, and we'll make the appropriate arrangements to ensure the safety of the school children.
When we did the intersection of Howland and Kinderkamak, we improved Howland Avenue, going up the hill towards Beaufort Road, probably about 3/4 of the way up, and then it transitions back to the old curbs and the old sidewalks. I think this is the 6th phase, or phase 6. This last phase is going to improve from the point where we stopped the Howland, the intersection improvement, up to the corner of Beaufort Road, with new curbing and new sidewalks and this little bump out.
It's still going to remain the same number of lanes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any time frame of that?
Construction in several weeks, you'll start to see something in several weeks.
Because I think we had the pre-construction meeting
Yes,
already,
we
right?
did.
Yeah. And we're getting reimbursed for most of the money from the county. All right, anybody else wish to be heard? Nothing, Peggy? Nothing, Neil? Nothing, Chief? Thursday.
Mayor, don't test your luck. Move on.
All right, can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, I rely, because that's how I keep my finger to the pulse. Is when people speak at a public hearing.
We like to keep you wondering.
No, please don't do that. Okay. Any council comments? Kathleen?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to say that I stopped into SCORE today. How are you again? The nurse did go there. Thank you, Alan. I believe you sent her this letter to go there. And she saw 10 to 15 people in a private room and did their blood pressure screenings. They were very happy to have her back, and they look forward to seeing her once a month. So, thank you for that. They also would like a little help. The lady that normally does a lot of their activities is unwell, and they're asking for help to try to get the word out for membership. So we're going to try to put something together to do a mailing to seniors to see if we can get some people to get in there, because they've had a few losses recently, and they're trying to encourage more people to come. And Miss Ogden, Dr. Ogden, showed up as well. And she gave out a lot of information about county services that were available. So thank you for that. And the library is having the Bantry Boys Sunday, March 10th. They're always a good time.
Thank you. Vito, anything?
A meeting with the Beautification Committee will hold a meeting this coming Thursday, and on the agenda will be further discussion about the Cherry Blossom Park. So I'll be able to report at the next what the schedule of this project ought to be.
The scope of it.
And the scope. So that it's not done by the waving of the hands.
No, everybody's got to be on the same page.
Yes.
Okay, Anthony?
Yes, I too stepped down at SCORE last Monday, and I've arranged a night at the movies for my friends at SCORE. Ladies, I hope you show up. It's going to be in the afternoon, complete with bologna sandwiches next Tuesday. I'll be there.
Is it going to be at Score?
Yes.
The movie?
Yes.
What are you
Here's the
showing?
listing.
Don't ask me. Okay. As I'm saying, don't ask me.
It's on a Monday.
Wait, it's listed on here.
My-
Movie starts at 12 noon with the egg salad sandwich, Monday,
egg salad.
the
And it's
24th.
on Monday.
Oh,
24th.
I better show up at Monday.
And popcorn will be provided.
Popcorn.
I see, I didn't know that.
It's listed.
Yeah.
Girls are slick.
I don't know.
Should write caviar and champagne on there.
Thank you for that report. Ed?
Mayor, first I just want to congratulate Mr. Herman and Mr. Aronoff on their appointment to the volunteer fire department. I said it's always great when we get new volunteers. I would like to acknowledge them publicly. Second, I'd like to offer some congratulations to the junior and senior Weeblos from Pack 95, a Cub Scout pack in town. They competed in the annual Klondike Derby a couple weeks ago, and full disclosure, my son was on one of the teams. The Panda team came in third place with Mr. Busteed's son, but all the kids did a great job. Even the teams that didn't win a prize, they were always within a couple of points of this team, but these kids were working every Saturday since I believe it was September. And again, it's a testament to a whole nother body of volunteers. You know, we talk about a lot of the town committees and commissions, but Scouts is a very active program in this town, and there's people who are leading these programs who have been doing it for many, many years, even since their own children have aged out. So it's a very, very good program, and I publicly thank them. They do a lot of great work in town. And along with that, it's my understanding that Troop 184, the Cub to Boy Scout troop, is celebrating their 6th anniversary this year, so hopefully we might be able to get a proclamation for them at one point this year. And then lastly, also want to make another acknowledgement and wish Father Michael Gurman well on his retirement from St. Peter's. He was stationed up here, or worked up here for the past 18 years, and you know, River Edge has a lot of great faith-based institutions, serve a large segment of the population, and Father Gurman has been an integral part of this community for the past 18 years. He's done a lot of good work, helped a lot of people, and the town wishes him well in his retirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Al?
Thank you, Mayor. Not too much to add, just as we hopefully start winding down our budget and complete that hopefully this month, I just basically a challenge to myself and all the other council members to start thinking about what you want to do with the rest of the year once budget's over. Ideas, how do we improve River Edge? What are we going to focus on and look forward to? For myself, I know we're talking about this Grove Street property, but what I've been hammering on for years and why we got a planner on board and a redevelopment attorney. We need to be looking at the Kindercommack corridor as a whole, look at whether or not additions or subtractions need to be made to our changes just to our master plan, and how do we spur development on Kindercommack, start seeing some of those shops that are closed or used only temporarily into full-time use. I think that's really our challenge maybe for the remainder of this year, not to get bogged down by the fact that it's summer or that it's election season, but to continue to work hard through the rest of the year towards that goal, because I think that's very important. So I kind of hope to hear everybody's ideas as to, you know, how do we make River Edge better as we go forward through the year, and that's about it.
Thank you. Tom?
I'd also like to welcome Joseph Herman to the fire department and Tyler Aronoff, Junior Auxiliary Fire Department. Our fire department is something I'm very proud of, and their commitment to the Junior Auxiliary is an outstanding one. Also want to wish Father Gurman publicly well on his retirement. Something that came to me today, I was able to, I had some doctor's appointments today, I had some surgery on Friday, and because I was home, I was able to enter a conference call with a group called Save Our Schools, and they have a resolution that I'm going to be forwarding to the council and to the Board of Education about urging the legislature to fund our schools according to the 2008 law. And I bring it up simply because the current proposal appears, I haven't had a chance to review this at great length, but it appears to underfund, especially in the area of special education, and that could have a negative impact on our budgets as the school has to pick up funding. So I've reached out to Councilman Aquafrida with some information. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Bastide, and I'm also going to reach out, and maybe we can have a conversation about maybe a resolution if it turns out that all the details are true, and I believe they are true, that we might want to urge the legislature not to underfund education because it has a negative impact on local property taxes and on municipalities which have already been asked to bear too much of the state's burden. And so I simply mention that as way of preamble to perhaps a later conversation. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. It's always a pleasure when we see members of the public at our meetings. I want to personally thank Mr. Herman for volunteering with the River Edge Volunteer Fire Department. Even though Mr. Herman lives in Teaneck, he's going to be making a valuable contribution to all of the residents of River Edge. He'll also be, in a way, protecting residents of his own town, Teaneck, due to the interlocal agreement that River Edge has with Teaneck. And I'll also thank Tyler Aronoff for volunteering for the River Edge Volunteer Fire Department Junior Auxiliary. I also want to echo the congratulations to all of the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. I think here at River Edge, I'm always so proud of the fact that we have so many volunteers, and I think it begins with the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. It's a proving ground for the development of good citizens from very young ages all the way up to when we have volunteers here that are just senior citizens.
And the Girl Scouts.
And they're great. And they're all, scouting, yes. Scouting. On Saturday morning, we attended the Board of Education budget presentation at the Cherry Hill School. It was a very valuable presentation that we saw. I wish the municipality here had the kind of technology that the Board of Education has. We have our budget meetings with, number 2 pencils with erasers on them, and they have their budget meetings with smart boards and equipment that we can only dream about. So if you're ever gonna replace your old equipment, you could always donate it to us, and we'll put it to some good use. One thing I didn't hear is under the new state cap now, the school budgets
2%.
are 2%, and there was no discussion of how if the River Edge Board of Ed is in target with the 2%, if they're
I
above
think
it.
they said there was 1.9 or something close to that.
They didn't have the actual dollar
That's the
impact.
tax levy.
At the 2%, 1.9, something like that, great, okay.
They didn't have the dollar impact on the average assessed household.
That we asked for.
All right. Well, I hope we have as much luck as they do for reaching our 2%, because we're not there yet. We still have to sharpen our pencils a little more. And that's all. Everybody enjoy the week, and we'll see you here at the next meeting, Saturday budget meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I owed you that. Christmas. Well, I owed you, well, because I owed Kathleen.